Welcome to Homesteading Roots, a podcast by Ozarks Homesteading, where we dig into the roots of some of my favorite people who are making a difference in their communities and beyond. We share about events we think you shouldn't miss and explore the faith that keeps it all going. I hope you'll enjoy listening. Let's dig in. Welcome, everyone, to Homesteading Roots. Today's episode is a little different. I'm Cheryl Franklin, your host, as usual. And I don't have a guest because I thought it'd be fun to take you behind the scenes of what goes into creating the Ozarks Homesteading Expo coming up September 4th and 5th in Marshfield, Missouri, which is only 45 days away from today when I'm recording this. And I got to thinking about that when I looked that up. It's scary because I still have so much to do. But, if you've ever walked through the gates and thought, wow, this just came together so well, I thought you would enjoy hearing kind of what happens in the months leading up to those 2 days, because it certainly doesn't happen overnight. And here's the thing, I don't want to share this because I want consolation about, oh, you work so hard, or applause, but I share it because it's what I love to do, and I think it helps people also appreciate what community really looks like, because the expo is hundreds of people working together from because we believe these skills matter, from the teachers to the vendors to the demonstrators, to all of the volunteers. It takes a small city to pull it off. Doesn't take a village to make a small city. And it all starts like a year before, really. Most people think planning starts a few months ahead, but, the truth is the planning starts for, next year's expo starts almost as soon as the other one ends. We're already making notes, what worked, what didn't. What did the attendees ask for? What classes do they want? What vendors should we invite? Who are the speakers who everyone wants to hear? Who don't we want to hear anymore? It's constantly evolving. Again, finding the right speakers, which is one of my favorite parts. Not because we always look for celebrities. We've had people as famous as Joel Salatin, and this year we have Daniel Salatin, and some people are celebrities, Ruth Ann Zimmerman, Joe Reagan is a celebrity these days, and our, Greg Judy, some people that are, some YouTube people, blogger people, are authors, but it's not just that. We look for teachers. There are a lot of people that we invite that are not very well known, like nationally known, and we love that. And sometimes that's a draw for some people, and that's great. I don't think always that people come just because there's famous people there. I think that's some of it. And, I always wonder about that. I always wonder, gee, if we did all these skills and we did all of these teachings and held this event and didn't have anybody hardly that was super well known, would people still come? I don't know. I think so. Maybe we should try to figure out if we can get some feedback on that. But we are glad that we do have some great, wonderful teachers that are well known, and because they're well known for a reason, because they are just pretty awesome, and people follow them for a reason. Because they actually live this lifestyle. They, people who still milk cows before breakfast, who can tomatoes and raise livestock regeneratively, garden successfully, build successfully, preserve, forage. They're just not talking about homesteading. They're living it. And, Then comes, collecting titles of topics and session descriptions and speaker bios and photos and getting the website all updated and scheduling everyone. So that's the big thing. So, the schedule just came out last week or so, and people have been asking for it for a while, but it's like putting together just this giant puzzle, um, because you are, I'm trying to not have four gardening sessions going on at the same time or four livestock sessions. So, we try to work it so we can have something for everybody, different interests going on at the same time, because there's four, sometimes five concurrent sessions going on at the same time. I know you can't all go to all everything, but we do have videos that you could access after well as well. But and then you have to make sure that the presenter, the teacher, can actually be there at that time and all that. So, and we work really hard to try to make that happen. I know sometimes people go, I can't believe they have two of my favorite people going on at the same time. So, um, that's what happens. Get the video, I guess, or come back next year. Maybe we'll have them again and you can come watch them both. But, we do have some new things this year. One thing we are really excited about, um, actually, it pains me because if you've been to the Ozarks Homesteading Expo and you've been to the Marshfield, to Webster County Fairgrounds in Marshfield, you know that there is this giant arena there, like a rodeo arena with, hundreds of, seats, places for hundreds of people to sit on the bleachers. And, but it doesn't work for us because the bleachers are hot and they're in the sun and they face east and south, which is like where the sun shines right on everybody. Um, so instead, we have to pay thousands of dollars to buy chairs, to rent chairs. But even though we would love to have stuff in the arena, but there's this pavilion across the road in the little city park, which is a wonderful city park. And, we went by there, we're always trying to figure stuff out. And so we're not going to use the bleachers this year, even though we tried last year. We put shade cloth up and all that. And again, a lot of thinking goes into how can we make this happen. And my friend Dylan, who is like MacGyver, I say, I need some shade cloth. I need some way to shade these people and the bleachers. And he's like, I'm on it. And so last year we rigged up, if you saw it, it was pretty great, but it was a rigging of, shade cloth so that people could buy it. More people came to those sessions um, than we had shade cloth over there. So they kind of spilled out along the sides, which was great because there were great attendance to some of these sessions. But anyway, there's this little park across the street and there's this great pavilion. So we were like, "Duh, how come we haven't ever used this pavilion? It's covered and it's got seating and it's shady and, it's enough for some of the smaller sessions and smaller attended sessions or workshops or things like that." So we are going to close the street off this year on Marshall, which is on the west side of the fairgrounds. So we'll be talking later about how you're going to get in there, parking and driving in. But we're going to close that street off so that people can walk across, go out the gate on the west side and walk across and go to the pavilion and for some of the workshops and the sessions. And I think we're going to do the cheese making over in there. We're going to do some other things, a workshop by Clyde Majuris, who's Clyde's garden planner. I'm sure you know Clyde's garden planner, and he is awesome, and he has been around for many, many, many years. If you don't have a Clyde's garden planner by now, you haven't been out. You need to get out more because it's awesome, and he is going to do a whole garden planning workshop over there where you're going to get a planner, you're going to get a soil thermometer and some other goodies. There's a small fee because you're going to get all those things. But um, anyway, so we will put something on the website for you to sign up for that because it will be limited to like, I think 50 people. But anyway, that is going to give us more opportunities to bring in some classes where people can sit and do some things. We're going to have, I'm very excited over there, we're going to have Ruth Ann Zimmerman and Lana Stenner, who have new children's books out. They have books of their own, adult books, but they have some a series of children's homesteading books that they've released through Harvest House Publishing in the last year. And they are going to be doing a children's reading time, story hour kind of a thing. Um, Over in the pavilion at that time. That's another reason we're closing the street because we don't want traffic going back and forth during that time. And another reason we're closing the street, and here's some backstory because that's kind of what I'm talking about today, is some of the backstory of things that we have to rack our brain about to pull off this expo. And again, if you've been there before, we have this rodeo arena that is um, kind of a sandy ground. And if we happen to get a lot of rain, thank God, knock on wood, that we haven't had any torrential rains or anything like that during the time. But it's hard to be in that arena if you get a lot of rain because then it's like quicksand and we can't pull food trucks in there and things like that. So our plan B has always been to put the food trucks out on the road there on the west side on the street if we had that situation. And we haven't had to do that ever, but I don't know. It might be a good idea anyway. We can't do it this year as plan A because that's not what we told the food trucks we're going to do, but that is the plan B. And so whether they know it or not, that's what we're going to have to do. Um, Anyway, I'm excited about using that pavilion because it's so shady there. It's like 10 degrees cooler in that thing. And we have had some hot years for the expo. We have had years where, it's Missouri, it's Ozarks. So we've had years where it was 100 degrees. I don't even want to say that publicly, but I got to tell you about that year. So one year it was very, very hot. It was 2022, maybe. No, maybe 23. It was really hot. It was like 100 degrees. Could have been more. Heat index was probably more than that. And the next day, it was so hot. And people were melting. But the next day, because we have tents and you're in a tent and it's just hot. And um, but the next morning, I was emceeing for Joel Salatin. He was doing his thing, first thing on Saturday morning. And I was like, how many of y'all were here yesterday? And like almost everybody raised their hand. And I was like, I could have cried. I was like, thank you for coming back after 100 degrees, what you endured yesterday. But it just goes to show you, we're all homesteaders, right? And we are tough. We're a tough lot. So, bring on the heat, bring on the cold, bring on the rain, all the different conditions, because you still have to go out there and milk the cow and do all the things and feed the animals, regardless of the weather. So, no weenies here. We're all gonna take it. So anyway, then the next 2 years, God said, "Oh, Cheryl, I'm so sorry about that. That that you had such bad weather or such hot weather last year. I'm going to give you 2 years of like record lows instead of record highs." And so the next 2 years were beautiful weather. Like actually in the 40s in the morning. It was cold, but it warmed up pretty quick. And then in the evening, um, it got, in the daytime, it got 70s, maybe even high 70s, but not 100. Is great. And I think we got a little rain shower. I don't think everybody even noticed much. So, um, Anyway, so we are praying for we're praying for 75 degrees, but sometimes it's 75 because it has rained. So we don't want rain either. We're kind of, we are kind of greedy here. We want good weather and no rain. So we'll see what we get, but we hope it doesn't matter. You'll come anyway. And but anyway, back to preparation for all of this. So we have some of the demonstrations that we have. Um, we have Brandon Sheard comes from the Farmstead Meatsmith, and he does a scald and scrape hog butchering, hog processing, um, that a lot of people don't do scald and scrape. Now a lot of old timers, that's what they did. They got a fire out and put the 5-gallon barrel and heated it up and dunked that hog and scraped it with the hog scraper. And just seems like people don't do that so much as much anymore, and there's so many benefits to that. But anyway, you just don't decide that you're going to demonstrate hog butchering because first you need a hog. And so we used to bring our own several years, and we brought our own hog, and then it just got so big and busy and we had to be there so early that it just wasn't um, practical logistics, because I actually live 2 hours away from the event venue, from the fairgrounds. So anyway, so then we started looking for people to just raise one for us and bring it, and we've been doing that ever since. Right, the last couple of years we've been Zion's Gate Ranch has been raising a hog for us for the hog butchering, and they have wonderful hogs. They actually have GOS, Gloucestershire Old Spot hogs, which that is what we raised when we used to have breeders, and we used to raise um, GOS breed and breed them and have litters and sell at farmers markets and sell breeding stock all over the country. And we did that for many years, and we are just real snobs about that GOS pork, because if you haven't had it, it is very good. It's so good. And so anyway, but they raised GOS too, and they're awesome people. You can check them out at Zion's Gate Ranch, and they bring the hog for us. They bring it, and he butchers it, and then they bring it home. So that's their payment for for raising a hog for us, um, so that they could have it processed there and bring it home. So when we were doing it, we just gave away all the meat, but we have to do something to compensate them for bringing it. And then again, chicken processing. So we have had Joel Salatin do chicken processing for us in the past, and David Schaefer. But this year we have Yardbird, Yardbird chicken pluckers. They are coming to do the chicken processing for us. I'm really excited about that. Um, and I hear they're going to be giving away some stuff. So you need to go, and probably just during that chicken processing session. So um, you need to go there. But, before that, we have to get chicks. And so we got our chicks a week or two ago. Was that last week? I think it was last week. Because Cackle Hatchery provides the chicks for us that we are going to raise up and use for the chicken processing. So we got chicks last week, I think, which made it right in time for, I think there'll be 7 or 8 weeks when it's time for the expo. And actually have a friend down the road from me, who's raising them for us, and then he will bring them to the expo. And again, it's wonderful to have good friends that'll do that for you. And then um, so I don't have to, because we used to do, when we first started, we did it all. We brought the hogs, we brought the chickens, we raised the chickens, we everything we needed, we pretty much provided. Um, we have something up our sleeve too, though, that we might do that with, but I just have to. wait and see. Um, but anyway, we had to, raise them and feed them and care for them so all of our attendees can learn. Another thing that we have to gather up. I have a fan on in here. I wonder, I didn't turn it off before I did this. I wonder if it's loud on here. I don't know. But if you hear noise, that's what it is because, it's going to be 100 today here. Um, so even in the office here, it's hot. Um, anyway, then there's Uncle Mud. And if you haven't been to the Ozarks Homesteading, it's worth coming just to come see Uncle Mud. He comes all the way from Ohio. His name is Chris McClellan, and he is just a genius on doing natural building with clay and straw. And he actually goes all over the world and helps people build natural building homes and um, has some really cool projects all over the world. And but he's going to talk about natural building, people that make straw bale houses or just houses with clay and mud. And he will be making a clay, which is cob, pizza oven. And he will teach on rocket mass heaters, and he will teach on composting toilets, making your own, and what else? And then he lets the kids come and make creations on their own um, in the clay and mud. And we try to do that in the afternoon because they're going to get pretty muddy. And you can come help too. You can come. You got to mix this clay and mud, and if you want to take your shoes off and go do that, it's it's pretty. It's a good natural thing, and it feels good. And but because we're not using a cement mixer or anything like that, we are just he's just using our feet and hands to mix this stuff. So, but he'll make a clay pizza oven and actually make some pizza on Saturday, I think. And he yeah, he's awesome. So we this is the third year that he's been there, and he's a good friend, and we've known him for a long time, and we are so glad to have him back again this year. Um, but again, going back, to the less glamorous side of things, there's ticketing and tents and tables and chairs and power and sound systems and videographer and sound engineer and dumpsters and porta johns and food trucks and parking and signage and badges and um, insurance and um, leasing a venue and electricity and cleaning and internet stuff and making sure all the vendors have what they need and making sure the speakers have all what they need and making sure attendees have what they need. And most people never notice those things. And honestly, that's the goal, is that everything works so smoothly that nobody thinks about it. And, if you've been organized events before, you just don't sweat it, because if something goes wrong, most people don't know that it's gone wrong. Anyway, you're the only one that knows, and you're the only one stressing about it. So anyway, we're stressing about it because things happen too, and yeah, and but we can't do any of this without incredible sponsors. We couldn't even do this. We couldn't do it. We couldn't pay for it without the sponsors. Finding business that believe in education, believe in the homesteading community at large. Um, one thing that's been especially exciting this year is, a lot of our sponsors are stepping up with some incredible giveaways. We're hearing about grain mills and books and baskets of goodies and chicken equipment and homesteading tools and products worth hundreds of dollars. So we love being able to bless attendees with some door prizes, and which, by the way, Azure Standard is our sponsor for this podcast, and we will talk more about them here at the end of the show. Um, but I hope you'll stay tuned enough, long enough for that. And we appreciate them so much. Um, but again, just coordinating products that have to be shipped and books that have to arrive and vendors, traveling from multiple states and, um, authors with books to sign and sponsors send displays and product, and everyone has different schedules and different needs and different deadlines, and somehow it all comes together at exactly the right time. And volunteers also make it possible. We were kind of getting worried this year because we didn't have as many volunteers sign up initially, but I put a call out on social media the other day for volunteers, and we really got a lot of volunteers registered, which we still need more, and mostly with parking because it's a challenge sometimes. But you know, this expo takes an amazing team, people directing parking and checking tickets and helping speakers and greeting attendees and running errands and setting up and cleaning up wherever, helping wherever needed. And, volunteers are one of the biggest reasons that it feels so welcoming. I've heard a lot of people say that they get treated very well at the Ozarks Homesteading Expo. And that is certainly not just about me. That is about every single person who works. And I have some key people that I just have to say, I should have a whole podcast with all those people on here because I have some key people who've been helping since day one um, on here and with the expo that um, we couldn't do without them. From our Carrie at our gate. To my daughter-in-law and my daughter and my other kids, and not since day one, but since the last few years, my friend Deneen, who is kind of my right hand man, right hand gal, um, with a lot of the things that we do, and my friend Dylan, who we used to work with here in the newspaper business, and he's moved to East Tennessee and comes here every year to help do all of the logistics and everything that needs to be done on the grounds. And I just appreciate his friendship. And my grandsons now, they're old enough. They've been old enough to help the last few years. And so they're a big help. My sister's coming from Virginia, flying in to help. My sister-in-law is flying in from Colorado to help. So, it takes a lot of people to make it a great, pleasant experience for you when you come, because um, that's what we want. We want it to be great for you. But, and we do this because, all this information changes lives. Some may learn to pressure can safely, and some people may finally feel confident about raising chickens and or making sourdough or food freedom or preserving other things, cheese making. One class, and I have heard so many stories. That's the other thing. I wish I could just do a podcast. Maybe I need to write a book about all the stories of people. Maybe put some testimonials on here. People who have just the one class just changed their life, um, and changed the direction of their homestead and gave them a real purpose. Because speaking of classes, um, I did have, like I said, we put the schedule out on the website this week, and I'm so excited to have some of these on here. So I hope you will go and look. We moved some things around, like I said, where we're going to be doing that. But we have some famous people and not so famous people coming and doing huge things like hog processing to, you know, just little things. And it's just going to be I know it's going to be hard when you have this many things going on at one time. I know it's hard, but bring a friend, bring two friends, bring four friends, and then you all can divide and conquer and take notes, and then you get together afterwards and you talk about what you learned and help each other out. Um, and we're going to do something also this time where we're going to try to have this board where people can put where they're from somehow. And, I get these brainstorms in the last minute always. But we're going to put so they could find out where they're from, and that way you can maybe connect with people in your community. I hear of so many people say, I just wish I knew other people in my community that were doing the same things as we are. And we hear that a lot. I started this ladies homesteading group meeting that meets once a month. I started in 2000 and early 2019, and we've been meeting every month for since then. And we have ladies come, new people every week. Like, I don't think we've ever had a week where there wasn't one new person there. Last week, I think we had 7 new people came. And sometimes we have a dozen people, sometimes we have 50 some. And they come and we have a topic every month, and a different topic, homesteading topic. And sometimes it's just a speaker, sometimes it's more of a workshop, but mostly people come to connect and be with other people that are kind of have some of the same visions that they have and ideals. And yeah, it's great. So I hear that also at the expo. Of course, I myself have gained so many friends at the expo, from volunteers to some of the speakers to just attendees that we've met and seen every year, year after year. I have one friend who's going to be speaking. His name's Dwayne Hall. He's from Red Feather Farm, and him and Pat Cotton will be doing a meat goat, everything you ever wanted to know about raising meat goats correctly, from husbandry to they're going to be doing some parasite um, information, and they're going to be doing some like showing you how to do fecal testing and all things like that. But we met years ago at a Mother Earth News Fair, and we kept seeing each other at these fairs. And he lived in Oklahoma, and I live in Missouri, but we kept seeing each other, and then we became friends. And now he's been teaching at the expo for several years, and um, he can teach about a lot of things. He's doing a rainwater catchment too, and if you are ever interested in harvesting your rainwater from um, for your homestead in a big way, you need to go to this and you need to listen to him because he's awesome. I think they supply all of their water on their huge farm um, from rainwater catchment. So he'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the story. So at least most of it. So but and so that's my favorite part of the expo is watching people find their people. You can almost see it happen sometimes. Someone walks in, they're wondering if they're the only person in the world that's dreaming of growing food and raising animals and living more intentionally. And by the end of the weekend, they've met friends and mentors and connected with neighbors and discovered, businesses they never knew existed. And they realize I'm not the only one. Oh, speaking of businesses, we have over 150 vendors coming of homesteading themed products and services. That right there is worth getting a ticket and coming, because if you ever longed for anything or wanted to buy anything or wanted to research products, just and meet those people who are selling these, like, yeah, there's some of the best people I know in the world. And so but anyway, that sense of belonging, like, you can go online and find some of these businesses and services and things, but meeting these people, it's a whole different animal. And you just have to experience it. And so if you've already bought your ticket, thank you. Thank you. And you're helping to make this possible, because we can put all this together and we can bring all these people, but if nobody shows up, it's just like, but if you've been thinking about coming, I hope you will. I hope you'll join us. If you're brand new to homesteading, or if you've been homesteading for 50 years, just come on out and be with us. We we are in our, let's see, seventh year since 2019. We didn't do the expo in 2020, and so we've been holding this event since 2019. And every year we try to make it not always bigger but better. And we listen to people, what people want to see and hear, and mostly it's a gathering. It's a family reunion now, because so many people get to see um, their people, um, every year, and come and see it. But, it's refreshing and it's inspirational and it's motivational. And, there's something you can ask questions, you can meet all the incredible people and buy books and get them signed by the authors. And, you can come and be encouraged, but most of all, you can come and find your community, because that's what the Ozarks Homesteading Expo in my heart has always been about. It's more than classes, it's more than vendors. It's about bringing people who believe that God's intention was us to take care of the land, to grow our own food, to care for our families, to care for our bodies, to care for our health, and to not keep it to ourselves. And that we want to share that knowledge, because it matters. And so we hope you will join us. And I can't wait to see you there. God bless. We just wanted to take a minute to recognize our sponsor, Azure Standard. Azure Standard is an independent, family owned company based in Oregon that specializes in bulk, organic, and non GMO groceries. Operating as a buying club, it delivers to over 3,800 community drop points nationwide, utilizing its own fleet of trucks. And we have been buying from Azure for a number of years. And not only do we enjoy buying their product, but we have enjoyed getting to know the David Stelzer and his wife Kimberly and their family and the owners. And they are just wonderful people. And we just encourage you to go to azurestandard.com to learn more. And if you are a new customer, you can enter Ozark 15 in your checkout. So we'll put that down in the show notes as well. Thank you so much for listening to Homesteading Roots with Cheryl Franklin. I hope you'll join us again on our next episode. See you then.